Alright, what's going on there, everybody? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about Demonias versus Doc Martens. Now, I'm bringing this video up because I actually purchased some new Doc Martens. I'm so impressed with their quality, so much so that I actually got a second pair, because these aren't my first Doc Martens that I actually own. I own another pair that are a little weird. I kind of like a lot of the weird docks that are made. I don't even have any real like original looking docks, like the typical just flat, typical run-of-the-mill Doc Martens that you would find in the mall or something like that. I always like to find designs that have little bells and trinkets on them. The more alternative looking Doc Marten, you ain't gonna find something like this in the mall. You only can find a lot of this stuff online, right? So what I've noticed with Doc Martens is they tend to almost look like Demonias. So I don't know in this video if this is proper, but it's like I'm kind of comparing apples to oranges, but then I'm not comparing apples to oranges, just because Doc Martens have copied a lot of what Demonia has been doing lately. Now, mind you, Demonias has a lot more bullshit on their shoes, so we're going to be getting into a lot of that today in terms of just the overall differences, I guess, with Doc Martens versus Demonias, and why I'm kind of comparing the two of them, right? I've briefly talked about in my previous video, which was back in like 2020 or 2019, somewhere around there, where I was going over the quality of Demonias just in general, like why you shouldn't buy them. I've steered clear for the most part with Demonias and even purchasing them anymore, just because of the sheer Chinese crap quality that they are. I mean, these things, I've hardly even used these things anymore, just because I'm just so done with them. You hungry? Anywho, yeah, so my Doc Martens, let's go back over that. These things, I've kind of talked about these in my previous video, how I've actually had to restore these things in some way, shape, or form, just because I still enjoy them, but I don't really wear them anymore. I've customized them with the Death Rock looking cobwebbing and shit from pantyhose and shit, but I really don't wear these things anymore. And the reason for it is just they're uncomfortable, for one. They're made like shit. I mean, even then, like, they're still got some, you can't really see it because my fucking quality of my camera is so shitty, but there's literally a tear right here on the boot right here. There used to be a bracket on the back that said Demonia on it. Completely fell apart, so I had to put my own rivets and shit into it. There's even these little tiny rivets on the boots that have actually been falling off. Not so much on this one, but the other one down there. There's missing a few rivets on the front of it. And a lot of that is just because I've been, dancing, bumping into people, and they've stepped on me or something like that, and they've kicked it off or whatever it may be. Yeah, Demonias aren't really a boot that you can really dance in. If you're like a dancer or something like that, honestly, you're not really going to want to use Demonia as a boot to it's more of a collector's item. That's kind of what I think of when I think of Demonias. They're just not really meant for rugged and extensive use. Like these Demonias that I just showed you, I was probably using them for no more than about 4 months, and not on a day-to-day basis. I would use them when I would go out clubbing, and back then I was going a little bit more frequently, maybe like every weekend or every other weekend, going dancing and shit like that. And the things just didn't hold up. The zipper fell apart. I had to have a shoe, I think they call them a cobbler, shoe cobbler, somebody that basically repairs shoes. I had to have him restitch a new zipper. I have another pair of Demonias that are sitting in my closet too. However, I didn't want to show those ones, just these ones are a perfect example, but the build quality is just not good. It's junk. It's just Chinese sweatshop bullshit. And that's why I've no longer purchased Demonias anymore. Same reason why I don't purchase Tuck anymore. Tuck, they're infamous for making the creeper. I really want to try to find a proper shoe company that makes a creeper, because I do like creepers as well. But Tucks are bullshit. And so are Demonias versions of them. They're just not made to last. And so when it comes to alternative shoes, I want to say Doc Martens is pretty on point with their build quality. From my understanding, the sole actually gets made in Britain, I believe, the UK, like, you know, how they used to originally be made. But the overall shoe portion, right, it actually gets made in Taiwan. These right here, I purchased these back in 2019. These are the 1460 harness Doc Martens. I don't think you can really get these anymore. Again, cam quality bullshit. However, these are kind of like a, I want to say like a Dom looking boot. It's got a very, like, if you're like a latex lover, this thing is like, well, when I first purchased them, these things were super shiny. They've dulled since I've been wearing them, which I'm thankful for, because I don't really like the sheen on a lot of my shoes in general. So it has a very, I guess, Vietnam looking boot. I mean, it's the same classic Doc Marten, only it comes with an extra little bell, which is the little harness on them, and obviously the buckle that goes across the top. These things have lasted me for a long ass time, and I used to daily these a lot. I mean, the shoe, I mean, the sole, and mind you, the way that my foot works is my heel strikes the floor before the rest of my foot does. So these things, I mean, there's still a sole on that bitch. I mean, it's not even shredded, like hardly at all on the bottom of the heel. Like, these things have held up incredibly well. Even, you know, even if the shoe portion itself is made in Taiwan, and, you know, you think, you know, Asian countries, you know, they're just made like shit, not really all that good. Honestly, the build quality of these are still pretty well, because the actual sole portion is actually what's pretty important, right? This is the support for your foot. This thing, like I said, they usually get made in the UK. Again, I could be wrong about this, but from my understanding, from when I looked this up before in the past, the shoe gets made in the UK, the actual shoe portion gets made in Taiwan, and this gets, I guess, transported over there or some shit. It gets assembled together, and then it gets shipped for retail use. But I've honestly not had any problems with these in terms of comfort, reliability. They've held up pretty well, and I wear them, you know, from occasions. I don't really like, or I wouldn't say I wouldn't really like them. I love these. These are great Doc Marten, but I don't prefer to wear Doc Martens on a day-to-day basis, only because sometimes these shiny looking boots don't really fit with a lot of my motif that I like to put together. So these are kind of like you know, cosplay use, honestly, or if I'm going clubbing. These are a perfect shoe right here. Now, with my Jadens, these are a Jaden style Doc Marten. There's no specific number to my understanding. It's just a Jaden high top bracket, metal bracket shoe. You can actually find these. These are still available as of this video. I just decided to look up Doc Martens and see if there was anything cool and new, and these things are pretty fucking bitchin'. I mean, they look almost similar to Demonia. Sorry, I'm getting this out of camera. It's got these little crosses on the actual belt buckles that go all across the top. You got this little metal bracket right here. It's a little bit of a beefier sole on it, so it's a bit of a platform, if you will, and that's kind of why we're kind of comparing Demonia to these Doc Martens. At least the Jaden platform, I'd say. Like, the Jaden platform has a lot of alternative looking styles when we're just talking about Jaden Doc Martens in general. I mean, you can compare the two of them, and these things look pretty identical to a fucking Demonia boot. I mean, just for the bracket alone, the way that it looks on this thing. It may not have as many trinkets, but, you know, you still got these little rivets that go across the top here. And, you know, guys, honestly, what I'm just trying to get my point across here is, you want something that's built better, built for dancing, still looks bitchin' on the dance floor, or, you know, you're going to a club. These things, they're gonna last you. You know, you can take these out, you can fucking, you know, these are a little newer. These are 2024 now versus the other shoes. That's a 2019. So, but given my first pair of Doc Martens have held up pretty well, considering I've been kind of daily using them so much here and there, that I don't have any qualms with that. This isn't probably going to hold up just as well as those. So that's pretty much what I just wanted to talk about. Was I would probably if you're somebody in the alternative scene that's looking for a decent shoe, I would probably go with Doc Martens. Hands down, stay away from Demonia. I mean, I've already talked about this in my previous video. If some of you guys are still around, that video did fairly well, and that's kind of why, since I bought these Doc Martens, I kind of wanted to go over this, because I've noticed Docs have really stepped up their game with styling. Mind you, like I said, you can only really get this type of look online, but they've really stepped up their styling in terms of someone like me that likes a little bit of the additional bullshit that comes on a boot, right? I'm not somebody that likes to just buy typical Docs that you get out of a mall. I like something that has at least a little bit of some customizability, right? You know, something that kind of screams me, right? But yeah, guys, that's pretty much what's going to happen, or what's going to do it for this video. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, or maybe you've had some ill experiences with Doc Martens or ill experiences with Demonia, I mean, not every shoe is going to be made the same, but in my experiences, I've owned at least like 3 pairs of Demonias in the past, and each of them did not hold up very well. Doc Martens, on the other hand, hands down seems to be pretty good on quality, and about the only shoe company in the alternative scene that seems to be holding up pretty well. So without further ado, guys, that's going to be the video for today. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section below. You have a good one. Thank you.